You know how sometimes you run into a coincidence that's just so strange it feels like it has to mean something? Well, today we're diving headfirst into one of those, from the history of mathematics. It's a hidden, kind of spooky pattern that connects some of the greatest minds in the field across hundreds of years. It's all about a single date that, for some reason, seems to have a special pull in the mathematical universe.
All right, let's get right into it. We're going to start with two absolutely brilliant people, separated by a huge gulf of time and thought. Two figures who completely changed how we see our world and even the cosmos itself.
So, on one side, you've got Katherine Johnson. She was one of NASA's human computers, and her math was all about the real world. I mean, literally, calculating the flight paths that sent the first Americans rocketing into space. Then on the other side, more than a century earlier, you have this guy, Nikolai Lobachevsky. He was a total rebel, whose math was super abstract, completely redefining the idea of space itself with his non-Euclidean geometry.
I mean, think about it. These two could not be more different, right? Different centuries, completely different fields, and they both faced these huge, monumental challenges. One was breaking down racial and gender barriers to chart a course to the moon. The other was breaking with 2,000 years of mathematical tradition. So, what on earth could possibly link them?
Well, the answer, it's not in their research, it's not where they were from, not even when they lived. The connection is something way, way simpler, and honestly, a lot weirder. It all comes down to a single day.
And there it is, February 24th. That's the thread. Katherine Johnson passed away on February 24th, 2020. And Nikolai Lobachevsky? He died on February 24th, 1856. The exact same day, just over 160 years apart. Wild, right?
Okay, but here's where it goes from a cool piece of trivia to a full-blown mystery. This isn't just about the two of them. As historians started looking closer, they found something absolutely astonishing. It turns out, February 24th is, for some reason, a huge day in the math world.
Yeah, this isn't just some historical footnote. It's more like there's this secret February 24th club for mathematicians, where your life either began or ended on that day. So let's really take a look at the scale of this thing, because it stretches across nearly 2 whole centuries of history. You can see it right here. The timeline goes way, way back to 1844, with the death of this French author, Renoude. Then, boom, Felix Bernstein is born on that day in 1878, and it just keeps going. Right through the 20th century, culminating, of course, with Katherine Johnson in 2020. It's just bam, 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 February 24th, over and over again.
Okay, so let's break this down a bit. First up, let's talk about the birthdays. The birthday club, if you will. And it is an absolutely incredible group of thinkers.
I mean, this list is just amazing. You've got pioneers like Felix Bernstein, and get this, he came up with a proof for a famous theorem while he was still a student, just sitting in on a seminar. Then you have these absolute powerhouses like Marilia Peixoto and Sylvain Vernon, who were the very first women in their countries to earn a PhD in mathematics. It's a day of incredible beginnings.
All right, so that's the birthdays. Now let's flip it around and look at the other side of the coin, the brilliant people whose stories ended on February 24th. And this list, wow, it is just as remarkable.
Of course, we've already met Lobachevsky and Johnson, who kind of bookend this whole thing. But look at the others. Eugenio Bertini, a total legend in algebraic geometry. Julius Weisbach, who was a genius with mechanics. And how cool is this? There's a guy named Fabio Conforto, not only a geometer, but also a passionate musician who wrote an operetta. It's just an extraordinary collection of minds who all took their final bow on the very same day.
So, after seeing all this, you have to ask, what is going on here? Is this just some spooky, weird historical fluke? Or, and this is the really cool part, can the very field these people loved, mathematics itself, actually give us an explanation?
Well, the answer lies in a concept called the birthday problem. You might have heard of it. It's a classic idea that basically proves our brains are really bad at guessing probability. Get this, you only need 23 people in a room to have a 50-50 shot that 2 of them share a birthday. Just 23. So now imagine your room is every single notable mathematician who has ever lived. We're talking thousands of people. Suddenly, the odds of a bunch of them sharing a birthday or a death day aren't just high, they're pretty much a statistical certainty.
And maybe that's the most poetic way to look at this. I love this quote from Jeffrey Kneebone, who, by the way, was born on February 24th. He basically says that math isn't some separate game, it's woven into the fabric of everything. And this whole coincidence is the perfect example, isn't it? It's a beautiful reminder that the abstract laws of probability are actually playing out in the real-life stories of these amazing people.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? This February 24th club is probably just one of many strange clusters hiding out there in plain sight. It's just a fascinating thought that there might be all these other hidden connections, these other improbable threads tying together the great thinkers of the past in ways we haven't even begun to notice yet.